Hi, and we're back with the book of Proverbs. I'm sharing lessons from chapters 22 to 24. And 22 contains a lot of verses admonishing us to be careful to avoid situations that could ensnare us. Many verses warn against guarding our hearts and our souls. The first verse tells us of how a good name is the reward of good behavior and one of wisdom's most valuable prizes. Living wisely and walking the path of wisdom results in a good name. There's a warning to keep our eyes on the Lord and trust in Him to give us the power and the strength to keep walking in wisdom. I gained new insight into a popular verse, that was verse 6, which says, "Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it." Now, I found out that the word train up in Hebrew is the same word that is used to describe the taming of a horse by putting a rope in its mouth. So in my mind, I was always, like train, discipline, or teach your children, but that's what it means. It also describes a term used by midwives during Solomon's time. When a child is born, they dipped their finger in crushed dates, and used it to rub into the child's gums to encourage it to start to suck and suck its mother's breast. So that's the same sort of term. So when I think about train, I think about the fact that the verse isn't necessarily, talking about, training in the traditional sense of it. And I had to remember that it's not necessarily a promise, because God has given us all freedom to choose our own way, but a warning to parents, I believe, to break the willfulness of their children and direct them in God's way. So it's not necessarily saying that if you teach your children Bible study or whatever, when they grow up, that's what they will embrace, even though that may happen. But then this meaning, the ways the words were described gave me a new meaning into it, and I hope this helps. One of the strongest admonitions to parents in Proverbs is to discipline their children, to deliver them from physical death. Obviously. We see this in 23:13, which says, "Do not hold correction from a child. He shall beat him and deliver his soul from hell." Solomon stated in 23, started 23 by encouraging us that while pursuing wealth, we should remember that the first priority of life is not work. A wise person realizes that wealth is temporary and unstable. I think I'd be inclined to take this advice from someone who was the wealthiest person in the world at the time, but also the wisest. So he was probably speaking from experience, because he knew what it was like to be wealthy and also wise. One common theme in these and other proverbs is about friendships and those that one surrounds themselves with. In 23:20, Solomon warns, "Don't mix with wine bibbers or gluttonous eaters of meat, for they will come to poverty." This is a reminder that people we regularly surround ourselves with will have influence on our lives, whether we like it or not. Some people say, "Oh, I can hang out with these people and nothing will happen." But then this proverb actually lets us know that that's not it. In 24:3-4, a very profound verse, it says, "Through wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established. By knowledge the rooms are filled with precious and pleasant riches." Now, wisdom, as I've said before, is the ability to take the knowledge about God concerning life and apply it practically and successfully. Now, understanding, on the other hand, is discernment, in just one word. This is an important element of life's relationships, right? And then knowledge are the facts of life. So having knowledge for the sake of knowledge is meaningless, but knowledge about God helps us to build the right relationships. This verse encourages us to use wisdom knowledge, and understanding to build the right relationships. And we should use them as the brick and mortar to build our homes as well. Now, here's my hashtag getting to know God lesson. God cares about those who are far from Him. He has appointed those with wisdom over the foolish and the simple to keep them from destruction. How do I know this? In chapter 24, 11 to 12, it says, rescue those being led away to death. Hold back those staggering toward slaughter. If you say, but we knew nothing about this, does he who weighs the heart not perceive it? Do not be he who guards your life. Does not he who guards your life know it? Will he not repay each person according to what he has done? The fact is that we can't feign ignorance when we've seen this in black and white. In 12 to 18, it says, do not gloat. 17 to 18, it says, do not gloat when your enemy falls or stumbles. Don't let your heart rejoice, or the Lord will see and disapprove, and his wrath and will see and disapprove. And I can't see what I wrote here, I'm sorry. And turn his wrath from him. And turn his wrath from him. God wants us to have the same heart towards our enemies as he does. So it's not enough to just be wise for yourself. You have to look out for your brother, basically. That's what it says. Thank you for joining me. Tomorrow we'll go back to 1 Kings, and we'll be sharing lessons from 1 Kings 5 to 6, and then the concurrent verse in Chronicles, which is Chronicles 2 to 3. See you here.